let's just jump right in. In this explainer, we aren't just going to rattle off dates and point at maps. No, we are unpacking the raw, brutal conditioning that built history's most terrifyingly effective conqueror. We're talking about the psychological forging of a mind that literally reordered the globe. So let's start at level 1, the blood clot. I want you to put yourself right there, on the dirt floor of a Mongolian tent in the year 1162. You were born, you're named Temujin, and you have a clot of blood clenched tight in your tiny fist. It's dark, it's hard, about the size of a knucklebone. The women in the tent fall completely silent. The men, they read it as an omen. And believe me, out here on the steppe, omens matter way more than prayers. Because this is the world you're born into. There's no palace, there's no kingdom, just a dirt floor and a freezing, biting wind. Your father is a minor chieftain. He's got a tiny camp and way too many enemies. Your mother, she was actually taken from another man on his own wedding day, just pulled from a cart on horseback before they even reached their new home. It's a freezing world where absolutely everything is seized and nothing is ever given. The steppe simply does not forgive weakness. Which brings us to level 2, the orphan. You're 9 years old, and the smell reaches you before anyone even says a word. Bitter almonds in the meat, a Tatar's poison. Your father dies on the road home, and you have to ride back to camp with his body lashed to a horse, with absolutely no army at your back. And the elders, they make their calculation incredibly fast. A widow with young children is a dead weight, not an asset. So, they take the horses, they take the cattle, they take the whole clan, and they literally abandon you on the frozen ground. So now you're left with a felt tent and 6 mouths to feed. You have to watch your mother dig roots out of the snow with her bare hands. You eat rats, you eat bark just to survive. And the steppe teaches you one unbreakable lesson that winter: loyalty is just a transaction. Survival is literally the only currency that cannot be borrowed. Level 3, the first kill. You're 12. A half-brother steals food from the family's catch. Now, it's just a fish, right? But out here, that single fish is the literal line between eating and starving. You don't shout, you don't warn him twice. You just pick up your bow and you end it. Clean, final. Your mother weeps for days, telling you that you killed your own blood, that you're becoming something she doesn't even recognize. But you say nothing. The hunger and that 9-month winter have already made the argument for you. At 12 years old, this steppe has completely finished your education. Hesitation is death, and you will never hesitate again. Moving to level 4, the cage. You are 15, and a rival clan takes you prisoner. They lock a wooden Kong around your neck. It's this heavy plank with a hole cut through the center that pins your head forward and down. You can't sleep, you can't even eat unless someone physically puts food in your mouth. They parade you through the camp like a broken animal. But you say nothing. You just study everything. Every single face, every tiny gap in the guard rotations. Until one night, you make your move. You slam that plank into a guard's skull and just disappear into the dark. You're saved by a stranger. A man hides you in a cart packed with raw wool, risking his own life for a boy he barely even knows. And you never forget it. This creates a sort of binary code that gets hardwired into your brain. Honor, loyalty, and absolutely annihilate betrayal. That one simple instinct is going to eventually reorder civilization itself. Now for level 5, the alliance. You're 20 years old and your wife is taken in a night raid. The Merkits want revenge for some old wound that has absolutely nothing to do with her. She's pulled into the dark and you're just left standing there in the road. But you don't submit. You call it a debt. You ride straight to your sworn brother and your father's old ally, a powerful northern chieftain. You don't beg, you offer a partnership and a share of what's coming. 3 armies descend on that Merkit camp before dawn. The retaliation is total, absolute. The camp is turned to ash, and your wife walks out of the wreckage. This is the exact moment you understand something completely foundational. Alone, you're just a dead man's orphan, but united, you are something the steppe hasn't even found a name for yet. But then we hit level 6, the betrayal. You are 32. Decades of shared fire, shared hunts, shared blood. It all dissolves. That same sworn brother who rode beside you into that Merkit camp, he's been whispering to the northern chieftain, saying you're rising too fast and you need to be stopped. He brings an entire army against you. It turns into this grim 3-day battle where men you grew up with are literally fighting on both sides. When the final arrow lands, the field is quiet in a way that just feels wrong. He manages to escape into the steppe, at least for now. Which brings us to level 7, the name.
You're 44. Picture this: 200,000 people, representing every single clan on the Mongolian steppe, all kneeling in a single valley at the exact same time. They press their foreheads to the earth simultaneously and raise a white banner 9 times into the sky.
They give you a title that no single man has ever held before: Genghis Khan, universal ruler. Now, the shamans claim the sky god chose you, but you know the real story, don't you? You know you were chosen by every freezing winter your mother survived by eating bark, by every man who bet against you and lost, and by every single scar your body carries. That very same year, your sworn brother's own men betray him and deliver him to you in chains. You actually offer him a place at your side, but he refuses. He tells you the sky cannot hold 2 suns, and he asks for a noble death, meaning no blood spilled on the ground. You grant it. As the wind cuts across that valley like a blade, you feel absolutely no satisfaction, just distance, because you've already decided to conquer whatever lies beyond the horizon. So before he marches on the rest of the world, he essentially rewrites society. He builds a written law. He completely strips away those chaotic old steppe traditions where whoever hits the hardest rules. Instead, he engineers a society built on strict logic. Promotion is now based entirely on merit, not blood. There's no looting allowed until the battle is completely won, and amazingly for the time, he institutes complete religious tolerance in conquered lands. He isn't just building a massive, chaotic horde. That's a huge misconception. He is engineering a terrifyingly lethal precision instrument. We're talking of base 10 decimal military structure and a mounted courier network that was literally the fastest communication system on Earth at the time. His management style is brutally effective. Generals who fail because of bad luck, they get retrained. But betrayal? Betrayal is universally punished by death, without exception. You're 50, and you finally confront the Jin dynasty of northern China. Now they're sitting behind the longest wall ever constructed, operating on this fatal assumption that a giant wall makes a civilization untouchable. So what do? You don't try to bash it down. You just sweep your cavalry right around the edges. You bribe the garrisons with gold before your arrows even arrive. In one move, you make 1,000 years of accumulated stone completely irrelevant. Then comes the reckoning at age 55. The Khwarezmian Empire slaughters your protected merchant convoy of 450 men. When you send ambassadors to demand justice, the Shah executes one and humiliates the rest. Your reaction? It's chilling. You walk out alone, climb a hill, and just kneel silently in the dirt for 3 whole days. This isn't grief. It is catastrophic calculation at a scale that requires total silence. When you finally walk down from that hill, the retribution is an absolute flood. 4 armies move simultaneously. Cities that resist aren't just defeated, they are quite literally erased from the map. Your engineers even divert an entire river to wash away a city's ruins so there isn't a single foundation left to rebuild on. The Shah ends up dying alone on a small island. Honestly, nothing in human history had ever moved this fast or this completely. At age 63, you embark on your last campaign. You're grinding through freezing mountain terrain, and your body is finally failing, burning up with fever. Your generals are watching you like a fire running out of fuel, but you keep pushing forward. He proves a truly terrifying point here. He doesn't need to be perfectly well to win. He only ever needs to outlast his enemies. You are 65 when a fall from a horse and a relentless fever finally catch up with you in the mountains of Gansu in 1227. 1/5. Just think about that number. By the time he succumbs, this destitute orphan, the kid who ate rats in the snow just to survive, has conquered 1/5 of the Earth's total landmass, all the way from the Pacific coast to the very edges of Europe. And yet, despite all of that, he leaves no grave marker, no grand monument. He came from absolutely nothing, and he made entirely sure he returned to nothing. He actually ordered the men who buried him to be killed, and then had thousands of horses driven across the site to trample it flat, hiding his body forever. He dissolves perfectly back into history. Which leaves us with a fascinating question to wrap up this explainer. It's something historians still wrestle with today. Did the sheer brutal trauma of that cold, unforgiving Mongolian dirt forge the man? Or did his unmatched, ruthless vision ultimately forge the world we live in today? Let that sink in.